Welcome everyone to Ezekiel Eyes. I'm Damon Ezekiel, the optometrist and director of Ezekiel Eyes. So today we're going to talk about myopia. Myopia is the elongation and stretching of the eye. So the eye becomes too long, and the longer it becomes, the more potential issues, macular degeneration, potential retinal detachments, glaucoma. So there's lots of issues that can arise when a patient becomes older. So what we're trying to do now is be very proactive with patients who are myopic. So if you're slightly short-sighted and mum or dad or both are short-sighted, we really want to stop this progression. So myopia can be a genetic condition, as mentioned with mum and dad. If they're short-sighted, there's a very good chance you're going to become short-sighted. And then can also be environmental impacts. So, the problem of our world that we've made for ourselves is that we have too many digital devices, and we're on computer, laptops, iPads, and then also our iPhone or our phones. So all these close devices long term is not good for us. So when I was a child, we used to play outside a lot of the time, build cubby houses, ride our bike, play sports. So a lot of distance work would minimise the amount of close work and potentially elongation of our eyeball, which can then lead to myopia. Myopia can stabilise. If you started young, it's potentially going to finish younger, maybe in your early 20s. If you start in your mid-teens, it might not stabilise till your mid-30s. So it's a very hard one to gauge, and depending on when you start, also depends on your close activities, and it also depends on your genetics as well. Mid-myopia is going to be in the -3 to -6s. Then we get into the -9s to 12s, and we unfortunately do have patients in the -15s to 20s, so they're extremely short-sighted. So really what we want to do is get hold of patients as young as possible, and they're just starting a little bit of myopia, and really nip it in the bud and stop them from progressing. Degenerative myopia is so patients who it doesn't matter what we do, they are going to become significantly more short-sighted. We can try and minimise how short-sighted they're going to become, but they have a very strong elongation of their eyes, and they're going to go down that path of being myopic. So the most important thing, as I mentioned earlier, was trying to get hold of patients when they're very, very mild myopic, and then we have a lot of fantastic techniques involved to minimise their development and becoming more myopic, and their eye stretching, becoming more short-sighted. So we have various forms of contact lenses. There's contact lenses we can wear during the day. There's orthokeratology, contact lenses we wear overnight. There's a atropine therapeutic drop, which is one drop every night. And then there's also spectacle lenses. So which there's a couple of companies who make these spectacle lenses. So all of these devices is causing a peripheral retinal blur, so a peripheral blur around the macula, which is causing a defocus. The more focus we get, we actually get more stretching. So by causing this defocus, which we get with all of those different methods that I mentioned, we can then slow down the progression of myopia. Now, we do have some patients where we start them on one particular avenue of therapy, and it's not enough, and we actually add in a second. So they might be on the soft lenses during the day, and then they use the atropine drops at night, or they use the orthokeratology drops, contact lenses at night, and they need the therapy atropine drops as well. And same again, we have some patients who are wearing the glasses. It's working, but it's not slowing down the progression as much as we'd like, and we use the atropine drops as well. So There's combination therapies we use, and that can work very well. But the most important thing is we really need to stop this myopia progression. We have a couple of spectacle companies now have come out with a myopia lens for the slowing down and decrease and stopping of the progression of myopia. These spectacle lenses have a clear centre and this little dimple veiling around the outside. This is one particular design, and it's causing a defocus on the back of the retina, and the defocus will stop the progression of myopia. So the important thing is, when we see you, we then go and see either Tom or Mel, and we'll find the right frame for your prescription, knowing the type of lens we're going to use. And then Tom and Mel will work out the optical centre of these lenses so that we get the optical centre exactly to match the frame and your pupil centres, which will cause this beautiful defocus of your image on the back of your eye. Now, your vision will be great, a little bit off centre, there'll be this little bit of peripheral blur, but patients who have been wearing these love them, and they're very successful in minimising and reducing the progression of myopia. Well, the most important thing is to get a frame that's going to match your prescription, which is going to work in well with the type of lens that we're going to prescribe. So yes, the particular frame and the optical centres and heights is very important, and that's what we do at Ezekiel Eyes to make sure that we match your prescription, the type of lens you need and the type of frame, so it all works together. So thank you for joining me at Ezekiel Eyes. Please, if you have any questions or concerns, please contact the office and let me know. Thank you.